And the idea that people talking online is a danger to your democracy is hilarious, because this really just proves my point that democracy has no impact on human rights. Democracy does not limit the government. Democracy does not protect freedoms. In fact, Peter Thiel is correct. Freedom and democracy are at odds. They are not allies, they are enemies. Democracy is a tool of mass deception propagandists use to manipulate the government, to manipulate what we think of as popular sovereignty. Democracy is not your friend. Democracy is not going to hold back the government. In fact, the government has expanded vastly in size under democracy. The most tyrannical kings in the world throughout history could not have imagined having the level of power that your democratically elected governments have. And the people of the UK know this because they've tried to vote to get rid of this mass immigration multiple times. And each time they have voted for it, the people they elected just said no. It just said no. And they imported more and more people. The conservative government promises that they're going to stop this. Instead, they double down and import vast numbers of people, even more than had existed previously. And nothing happens. So the people stop voting for them. But the only other option really is the the Labour government. And the Labour government also, not only do they continue to allow this wide open border, this constant importation of immigrants, but they actually just jail you for disagreeing with it. The review will look at the rise of Islamists and far-right extremism in the UK. No, it won't. No, it will not. It will look at the second one, except it will, if you disagree with the government, that will be considered far-right. And it will absolutely will not look at any kind of extremism from Islamists at all. In fact, we know it won't because the UK government has gone out of their way to cover up violence and sexual assault by Muslim immigrants in the UK. They have gone out of their way to do that. That is the track record. There has never been any cost paid for the way that they've done this, and they're not going to start now. It will also look at the causes and conduct of radicalization of young people. Again, only because if you disagree with the government, it will have nothing to do with Islam. It will have nothing to do with left-wing radicalism, have nothing to do with Antifa or Black Lives Matter, or even probably pro-Palestinian protests either. The strategy will map and monitor extremist trends. That means lots of surveillance to work out how to disrupt and divert people away from them. They're going to control your information. They're going to control your online experience. They're going to arrest you for saying the wrong things. They're going to threaten you, and they're going to shut down access to information they don't like. It will also identify any gaps in existing policy which will need to be addressed to check to crack down on those pushing harmful and hateful beliefs and violence. Harmful and hateful beliefs first, you'll notice there. So yeah, we're going to look if there's any loopholes. Is there any option for you to believe wrong? Well, we're going to fix that. We're not waiting for the violence. We're not waiting for riots or outbursts. We want to make sure that you don't have the option to even think incorrectly. So we're going to shut that down in advance. They even go so far down here to talk about the concerns of incel culture, the dangers of incel culture, and Andrew Tate. Yeah, what are they going to do? They're going to go after Andrew Tate. Is he a British citizen? Is he living in the UK? Are they going to extradite him? They already threatened to extradite Elon Musk. Is the UK government just going to go around trying to extradite everybody who makes a dumb joke about women? Is that the plan? Is that, your uncle at Thanksgiving, like the UK, like just UK special forces is going to break through the window in somewhere in Mississippi and grab your uncle because he made a joke about women washing dishes or something? Is that the plan moving forward? But yeah, as insane as this is, this is where the UK is going, and there doesn't seem to be any interest in stopping this. Right? There's no sanctions coming from other democracies. There's no world leaders speaking out against the treatment of political prisoners in the UK. There's no protests about the rights of the native Englishmen as they are stripped of their land by a government that seeks to import new and different voters while jailing anyone who disagrees. None of that is happening. You're not going to see any kind of world organizations. The NATO's not going to talk to anybody. There's not going to be any kind of non-government organization coming in, and Amnesty International talking about the imprisoning of different members of the UK citizenry for their political beliefs. None of that is going to happen because all of these organizations are attached to the managerial network. Whatever their organization pretends to stand for, we protect democracy, we protect rule of law, we protect freedom of religion, we protect none of it. They don't believe in any of it. They all believe in propping up the existing post-war order. That's all they believe in. That's all they care about. And so they are willing to come up with any excuse, come up with any reason. And again, the American government is 100% watching this. The Democrats, those in power right now in the US government, the establishment, they are 100% watching this right now. Trust me, they are taking notes. They are trying to figure out how they can apply this to the United States, because we are in a situation where the fake veneer of Kamala Harris and the ridiculous attempt to make her seem charismatic and reasonable, as if she has some kind of serious thought process when it comes to policy, all that stuff is falling apart. The idea of her as even a likable social media star is falling apart. Those poll numbers are going to collapse, and they're going to panic. The ruling class is going to panic. When it looks like Trump is going to enter in, they are going to lose their minds. If you think things are wild now, they're only going to get more wild. And they are absolutely taking notes on how the UK was able to silence people, imprison people, threaten people, intimidate people. This is what is happening. The UK government is a tyranny. They rule through terror. Tyranny is not rule by one person. Dictators, kings, autocrats, they can be tyrannical, but they can also be benevolent. You at least have like some chance of them being good at their job and caring about their people. But tyrannical governments always rule the same way, through fear, through terror. And you don't need one dictator. You can have a distributed, democratically elected network of people who rule through terror. And that is absolutely what is happening in the UK right now. We are not quite there yet in the United States. We've seen, obviously, we have January 6th. We have guys like Douglas Mackey facing prison time for having memes. We have people I know looking at the January 6th investigations. There are real breaches in rule of law in the United States. We are in a very bad position. I'm not pretending that we are immune. That's why I'm looking to the UK.